So my name is Brenda Luis. I want to start with that. My name is Brenda. I'm 25. I'm from Los Angeles, Reseda. And this is heading towards all the videos that I've been watching of AML Films, Soft White Underbelly. And yes, I wrote all of this down. Recently they've been doing videos about, like, for example, Samantha, Chris, the nurse, Vivian, and I've noticed a couple of questions that just really bother me, because you want to tell their stories. That's fine. I think that's great, actually, that you want to put their stories out there. But when I look at this, I'm not really seeing a story. Not by all of them, but some of the ones that I've seen. I mean, a story is like why you started using drugs, or what led you to being homeless. That's the real story. That's what I want to hear. Not how many bags do they use a day, or what's the craziest thing a man has ever asked you to do for, the girls that have prostituted. I mean, first of all, what kind of question is that? Like, not even in the AA or NA community would someone ask you, how much did you use a day? That's not a question that you ask addicts. Unless you're in a medical center or a hospital, that's understandable, but that's no one's business. Putting out there how much they use, that's absolutely no one's business but their own. And the question about what's the craziest thing a man has ever asked you to do, okay, what does that matter? How does that fit into their stories? I mean, I would understand if you had asked, what's the most traumatic event you've been through, and if, that complies with that, that's different. But what does that matter? What does that have to do with one story? Like I said, my name is Brenda Luis. I'm from Los Angeles, California, Reseda, and I was born and raised there, for the most part. And I have a similar story to these people, which is why these questions have bothered me on AML Films. I'm a recovering addict. My name is Brenda, like I said. I started using drugs at 14 out of poverty and confusion, mostly, as to who I was. And it's not easy to open up about these things, but I'm willing to, just because it's eating me up at night. How badly portrayed some of these stories are being told right now. And I've been through things like that they've been through: prostitution, drugs, being addicted to heroin, living on the streets. It's not fun, and I did it for a reason. I got very depressed at the age of 18. I had moved to Kentucky to live with the father of my son, who his job had relocated out there. I don't want to go into details right now. That's not what I'm here for. But bottom line is, there was infidelity and on both sides, and we separated. I moved back to California from Kentucky with my child. I didn't know that that would be considered child abduction, if you didn't tell the father. I know now. I've learned from all my mistakes, and part of these videos also bug me because the people are not taking responsibility for their actions. I mean, I've watched some recovery videos and people talk about it like it was all fun and games, but it really wasn't. What about the part where you had to make a decision to start using drugs? What about the part where you had to make a decision? I had to make the decision to let my child go because I didn't want him to live how I lived. And I know now that it was the wrong decision to give my son up to his sister. But I didn't know then. But I know now, and I take responsibility and accountability for that now. There's a lot of decisions that led to depression. Most of addiction comes with depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. Um, and I'll go more into depths about my stories and how my experiences in rehabs and detox centers was. If people want to know more about it, I'm willing to open up about it. But that's my response to AML Films and Soft White Underbelly. You know, can you tell us the real story of these people and not just ask some silly questions that don't really even matter, and communities,